Imagine playing a new game on a decade-old computer. The game is built for high performance, but on this older machine, everything stutters, frames drop, visuals become blocky, and the experience is just unplayable.
Right this second, your brain is dealing with an enormous amount of data. It's parsing through gigabytes worth of sensory input at a rate of over 1 billion bits per second. But our hardware, the structure of our brains, it's about 40,000 years old, and the fastest that we can process information is 10 bits per second. This means we only use 0.000001% of all of the information we receive. And yet, despite this major discrepancy, we experience the world around us with unparalleled clarity. So I set out to learn how something so objectively slow keeps pace with life's relentless stream of information. And what I found surprised me.
In 2003, this viral email started making its way around the web. It states the important thing is that the first and last letter be at the right place, which is partly true. What's more important is that the words are predictable and they flow naturally so your brain can rely on patterns to turn what should be gibberish into a coherent paragraph with little effort. Your brain is incredible.
And special. Instead of painstakingly processing every detail, it utilizes patterns to fill in the gaps and predict what comes next. I'm about to show you over 45 random faces in just 6 seconds. Did you recognize any faces? If you did, your brain just identified a familiar face in 1/8 of a second. You might not even be able to put a name to the face, but your brain immediately goes, "Oh, I know that face." There's no need to examine every detail because your brain swiftly filters through the visual information and looks for a familiar pattern, and when it finds one, the neurons light up in excitement. Working hand in hand with your sensory organs like your eyes, ears, and skin, your brain constructs the vivid, immersive reality you experience every day. At the center of your vision is a tiny, high-resolution window that captures about 2 degrees of your visual field in the sharpest of detail. This is called the fovea. This window becomes most obvious when you're reading words on a page.
Everything outside the word you're reading is blurry. Your brain has the perfect solution for this. About 3 times a second, your eyes make rapid-fire movements scanning your visual field. They're called saccades, and they happen at lightning-fast speeds. Saccades allow your brain to gather high-quality snapshots from all over your visual field, which your visual cortex then stitches together into a coherent, vivid experience that you enjoy.
So if you're thinking, "I've never noticed my eyes darting," you'd be right. Our brains employ a fascinating trick called saccadic masking. While your eyes are rapidly shifting focus, your brain essentially erases the blurry in-between frames from your visual feed so seamlessly that you're completely unaware of the eye's motion or the brief gaps in your perception. Now here's where it gets interesting. We can actually trick our brains into exposing these hidden processes.
When you fix your gaze on a single point, the phenomenon known as the Troxler effect takes over. Focus on the crosshair and you'll notice the lilac dots start to vanish, replaced by a ghostly green dot. What's happening is the static details in your periphery gradually fade away as your brain decides there's no value in refreshing the unchanging information around your point of focus, so the result is tunnel vision. The second illusion exploits your brain's saccades in the same way. Focus hard on the crosshair and you'll notice all of the color in the image appears to wash away. It's not until you move your eyes that your peripheral is refreshed and the color returns. Vision isn't the only way your brain conserves bandwidth. For instance, could you recall this number 5 minutes from now? And what if it looked like this? Our brains use a trick called chunking to break down large amounts of data into manageable, memorable groups. And clever humans learn to leverage that for marketing.
Come to 1-800-Flowers and
1-800-Contacts. They can't have my brand.
So at 1-800-Dentist, we match you with the perfect...
You get used to pet odors in your car. You think it smells fine, but your passengers smell this.
Nose blindness.
When we're exposed to a constant odor, our olfactory receptors, the sensors in your nose that detect scent, quickly dial down their sensitivity, ensuring that your brain isn't bombarded by the unchanging background smells. It's why when you walk into your house, you don't really smell anything. But when you walk into a friend's house, you immediately notice all the novel smells. This smart filtering lets you remain alert to new, potentially important scents like the hint of smoke or the telltale odor of spoiled food. It's another brilliant example of how our brains prioritize only the data important to survival, allowing the mundane to fade into the background while keeping our sensory experience sharp and balanced. You might dream of a world where our brains process every bit of information, but that would come at a steep price. It would require exponentially more energy and strip away the nuanced, adaptable processing that makes us human. Our very nature is finely tuned to thrive in the world we call home. precisely because our brains know how to filter out the noise and focus on what's important. And maybe that's a good rule. Filter out the noise and focus on what's important. Thanks for watching.